Halito Chimachukma, this is Chief Steve coming at y'all with another episode of True Story. We got a really interesting one for you guys today, but before we get into it, make sure you guys hit that like button, and if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to ring the notification bell as well, so whenever I drop these bombs, you'll be the first ones to grab them. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
Administration's efforts to remove pieces of history from Smithsonian museums. Thank you very much for staying up with us at 11. I am Amy Cho. Nearly 1 month after President Trump issued an executive order targeting the D.C. area museums, some artifacts are already being removed. The owners of some historical objects inside the African American History Museum tell NBC their items are being wiped from the displays. News 4's Catalina Perez de Armillon spoke with one of those owners and asked museum visitors if they've noticed the changes.
Some visitors were shocked. Others said they strategically planned their visits to be able to see the most artifacts in case some were removed. An action they say represents a huge step back, not only for the museum, but for the country. A recent executive order signed by President Trump aimed at removing what he called improper ideology could already be affecting the African American History Museum. Civil rights activist and pastor Reverend Amos Brown says he was recently notified 2 of the artifacts he loaned to the museum would be returned.
One precious and most historic book, the first history of the Negro race, that was written by Reverend George Washington Williams in 1880.
The other, a Bible from when he went to demonstrations with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Jesse Jackson. Brown says that he lent the artifacts to the Smithsonian in 2016. They would always give him the option of donating the books permanently or renewing the loan, but this time he wasn't asked.
It is downright dishonest and it's demeaning. And I hope that people of goodwill, of conscience, and common sense will rise up and say we need to stop this insanity.
A sentiment shared by others who planned their visits to DC, hoping to visit the museum before changes are made.
It's a shame that the fear of black people finding out their history has caused that kind of thing, you know?
Others who have visited before can even point out some of the recent changes.
And I know certain exhibits that were there that were missing, like Nat Turner's Bible was one. It's a very small Bible, but that's one. Also the Woolworth, the Greensboro Massacre table, that was missing as well, but the digital display was still there.
NBC4 reached out to the Smithsonian for comment, but have not yet heard back. And while some had a lot to say,
we need the board of the Smithsonian to step up, plain and simple. What's being done is trying to whitewash our history. You can't wash out our African American experience, because our experience is the American experience.
When asked what message they had for the Trump administration, others simply let out a sigh.
I don't have words.
But their message was clear. Every single piece, every single artifact represents a crucial part of the African American history.
Halito, y'all. So as you can see, there's been some moving and shaking going on in Washington, D.C. due to the recent executive orders that President Trump has put into place and action. We kind of see now why we are being distracted with different things such as, the Shannon Sharp scandal and the Shador Sanders debacle, and you got everything, even the Ibrahim Traore things that are going on in Africa. They're putting it out in the mainstream and trying to get us emotionally invested with all that stuff. We see why the distractions are happening. We're literally going through another Reconstruction era, to say the least. Now, some people look at this as a good thing. Some people look at this as a bad thing. It really depends on how you look at it, because we all know what African American is. We know what black is. And if you've been on this channel, if you've seen my videos and you've been, here since day one, we've broke down everything that has to do with African American and black and how they're both a part of the same category as far as racial definition, which means that black and African American people are those that are not from an original people, but are from a racial group in Africa. No specific tribe, no specific country, just a subracial group of a continent. And when you leave someone's identity to such void vacancy, you can fill in any kind of narrative that you want about the people. But we know that the people who are now called African American and Black American are indeed the reclassified and now declassified American Indians. With that being said, we are America. We are American history. Our history is American history, not African American history. So, with this erasure of African American history, at least under this label, I do see a beam of hope, a beam of positivity coming out of this. Because as they erase these things, we are able to replace this his story with the true story. The true story of our people. And that's not necessarily saying that Donald Trump is going to be on board with this or something's going to be put in place to properly put us back into our right identity. We can't trust outside sources to fulfill our needs. We have to do this on our own. So we have to look at this as an opportunity to re-educate and to enlighten our people on the truth of who we are. Like I said, some people look at this as a positive thing. Some people look at it as a negative thing because, not only the indoctrination, but the training, the lifelong stories and education that we've received stating that we are a people from another place. I mean, it's tough for a lot of people to really put their heads around. And I see why they didn't make it a big deal, because the last thing that they want is for our people to be riled up, for our people to be, get out in the streets and but so I'm glad that they didn't make it a big deal. Yet at the same time, we have to pay attention. We have to stay alert, stay vigilant, and always be aware of our surroundings and the things that's going around us. Things that's going on around us. Okay? Outside of the mainstream, outside of the celebrities, outside of, what they want us to know. We have to dig deeper and we have to continue to pay attention to what's happening. Because this ain't necessarily a bad thing or a good thing. But we can't hang our hats on, oh, they took this African American history out. They're taking out African American history artifacts. This is a great thing. And now we're going to be, the truth is going to be told about who we are. And we can't make those assumptions. If anything, due to the resume and the reputation of the system, we have to be more vigilant and more alert and pay more attention, because it could possibly be completely erasing us. That's a possibility as well. So, being that we are aware of this, that we know that these things are going on, that history is literally being erased and removed, it is up to us. It's our responsibility. It's our obligation that we owe to our future generations to tell our true story, to put our true story out there, to let folks know who we truly are. And I know some people are going to be upset. You're going to have some people that are emotional about it. And some are going to want to hold on to this African American narrative. I get that, because a lot of our true story is intertwined with the African American narrative, the African narrative. But as long as we continue to call ourselves African American or Black American, we're still displacing and erasing our true identity. We're removing ourselves from our land, from our soil, from our heritage, and we're adopting a narrative as heritage and culture, and placing our story on a landmass that we've never been on, just because someone decided, or a group of people decided, that this is who we need to be. So I'm not necessarily upset, nor am I elated that this is happening. I'm being cautious. I'm being watchful. And at the same time, we all need to make the proper moves. We need to let our people know first. Our people first. We need to let our people know who we are. We need to continue to show undoubtable evidence and proof. We have to continue to educate our children, our youth, our young ones. We have to take that responsibility on for ourselves. As you can see, this is not, we're coming to a time right now where it's not a day of, just go to the museum and learn something. Oh, I want to know more about who we are. Okay, well, let's go here. Let me take you there. Because these places were purposely put in place to drive a narrative into our mind, to create the perception of reality, that this is a reality. You know what I mean? That this is truth. This is absolute truth. And now we're starting to see that this veil is being broken down. So what we are doing is working. The age of information, the age of, Aquarius, as they say, this age of self-rediscovery, self-awareness is in full effect. And our atmosphere is literally putting things in place for us to be opportunistic and to set things right. At the same time, we do have those who say they are for us but are not, that are making these moves. And when I say they are for us and they're not for anyone but themselves. When you really look at the executive order that was signed and put into place, and I believe Dane Calloway went over it, I suggest taking the information of the executive order, getting what it is, and reading it fully for yourself. That's why I'm not going to take the time to, put that out there. I want you guys to research that executive order for yourself. And I might put something down here, saying which executive order that is. But I want you to take a look at it for yourself. Read it in its full entirety, and you'll see that it's not necessarily for our benefit. It's for the benefit of them. They're trying to put things in place and take things out of place in order to make it seem like this is a universal America. They're trying to highlight the mostly the positive things about this country, and how everybody is, although we're diverse, we are still one, and things like that. So they're taking out vital things of the past, things that make things look at America, at the United States, in a negative light, and they're either replacing or they're rewriting the narrative that, this is a new America. This is we're all one. We're all one, and this is the way it's always been. So they're not putting anything in place to state that, the Black American or the African American is indeed the indigenous American, the American Indian. They're not doing anything to put that in place. That's why I say it's our responsibility. It's our obligation that we owe to our future generations to make this happen, to put this truth out there. So we can take this, we can either feel sorry for ourselves or feel bad about it, be upset, angry, distraught, or we can look at it as, okay, you distracted us with all these things to make y'all moves in the dark. Now we need to move in silence as well and put things in proper place that will tell our true story. So let's take this time to be opportunistic. Let's not get riled up and upset. Let's not give them the energy that they say they don't want, but we know secretly and spiritually they really do want, because this country, this system that we call a nation, feeds off of the emotional energy, the emotional and spiritual energy of the indigenous people of this landmass, which is the American Indian, the copper-colored Aborigine, who we now know today as Black Americans or so-called African Americans. Don't give that energy to them. And at the same time, let's not get distracted. You got a whole bunch of things going on. You got the football drafts, you got the basketball playoffs, you got, the things going on in Africa that they want to, push in the forefront and be all on TikTok and saying, we need to get behind Ibrahim, and we need to get behind Burkina Faso, and we got to stop them from trying to invade. That's their problem. We have our own battle and our own fight going on here, as you can see. Although our war is no longer physical, it is still very much active and ongoing. It hasn't stopped. They first erased our true identity, our true story, took our artifacts out of our mounds, took our artifacts and stuff out of our homes, removed us from our homes, removed our names, destroyed our cities, our towns, our infrastructure, built on top of them, or either flooded them out, and then gave us a whole nother narrative saying that we came from somewhere else. And now that narrative is starting to be slowly taken away and is starting to be erased. So what's going to replace that? That's the question that nobody is asking, that but everyone needs to try to figure out and be aware of. Because they never just take anything away without replacing it with something. And the more that they erase, the more that they'll replace. Or we need to be on top of that. We need to be on that kind of time. The more that they erase, the more we need to replace. We need to tell our own story. We need to tell our own true story. We need to establish those oral traditions. We need to start writing things down. Written documents, firsthand accounts. And we're starting to get to that point. Genealogy is key. Genealogy is very much the first step of rewriting history, and solidifying our true story. Debunking the out of Africa theory and the African American narrative. The African slavery and things like that. Because we know that slavery did happen. Very much so. But it was the enslavement of the indigenous people. It was the enslavement of the indigenous people. It was not the enslavement of Africans. It was people that was removed from the mainland, brought to the islands, from the islands to the mainland, mainlands to the islands, from the islands to Europe, from mainlands to Europe, and then into Africa. And it was all told in reverse. And we know this. We should know this all by now. We need to start telling our true story. We need to be more bold about it, as they are getting more bold in erasing and replacing. We need to get more bold in telling the truth about who we are, finding out the truth, knowing it and professing it with our tongues, and standing on business. It's not the time to hide no more. It's not the time to, put things on the backside. Oh, I know this, but I'm just gonna keep it to myself. Or I'm gonna keep it in my mind. I know this to be true. I know this to be okay. Well, the next person needs to know as well. Knowledge is key. Education is key. And with all these, different rumors of segregation and all these things going on, we need to really start paying attention and being aware, because we are in a time of looking out for ourselves, separatism, and it's been like that for a while now, if you haven't paid attention. So it's up to us to re-educate ourselves. It's up to us to let our future generations and those who are here, that's here before us, and that's we need to let them know that, hey, this narrative, this ain't it. It's never been it. And now it's time to let the truth out. So while they're removing this pieces of this narrative, they even says on about a Nat Turner Bible. And we all know, we've done our research, that Nat Turner was not was not a real person. There are so many different accounts and different stories about one person. I've never heard so many different stories about one person. It's crazy. And now that's finally they're just removing it all together, removing that story altogether. And the same can be said for Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman was an act of Congress. That story. These are all different narratives that feed a theory that has never been proven as true. So we need to be more vigilant. We need to be more aware, and we have to start letting people know this is the actual story. This is our actual true story. This is stuff that we have proof and evidence of. This is the stuff that my parents have told me, that my parents' parents have told me, that my parents' parents' parents have passed down. These are the physical papers stating that I am who I am. These are the policies that were put in place to erase us from who we are. It's up to us to allow these things to be put in the light. And by allowing these things, I mean we need to do it ourselves. Allowing ourselves to move accordingly. Not just standing by the wayside and watching them and waiting on them. Always be watchful, always be aware, always be alert. But make sure that you're taking the proper steps and actions accordingly to how they're moving. Because it's a new day. And as you can see, if we do not replace what's being erased, we will be forgotten. So remember that. Let's let's stay focused, guys. Don't be distracted by everything that's happening around, and let's stay focused on the mission, the movement, the goal. And that is to restore our true story. To tell the people of the true story that has been suppressed. Letting everyone know that we are here, we've always been here, and we ain't going nowhere. We never come from Africa. We are not African Americans. To be black is to be African. I know some people don't want to hear that, especially my FBAs out there. But to be black is to be African. To be African American is to be African. It's the reason why they're both on the same line on the census. There's a reason why it has the same racial definition. And if you need further proof of that, just Google SF181. SF181. That's all you have to put into Google. And you'll see the race and ethnicity should come from the OPM, Office of Personnel Management. And you'll see for yourself how this government describes black African American. It doesn't matter what you feel in your heart. It doesn't matter what you think is right. It's as plain and simple. It's as plain as black and white. And it gives you the definition of both. Okay? But like I said, I'm neither disappointed nor am I elated. I look at this as an opportunity to be watchful, to stay vigilant, and to move accordingly. All right? So you guys do the same. Well, this was just a short video. I don't know how short it actually is, but I just wanted to put this out there to let y'all know this is what's happening. This is what's going down. So, your whole take a break from the club shay-shays and the NFL drafts and the NBA playoffs. The teams are still going to be there. Championships and all that stuff is still going to be there. The drama is always going to be there. But this right here, as you can see, they are moving accordingly. They are moving with or without our knowledge. And 9 times out of 10, they're always going to move without our knowledge. They're always going to put some kind of red herring or some kind of thing of distraction in front of us in order for them to really get what they need to get done. This was a news broadcast that was put out literally at 11 o'clock p.m. yesterday. The thing I showed you was from one day ago. And so they've been moving. They've been moving and shaking, and it's up for us to respond and move accordingly. That don't mean get out in the street and cry about it. That means move in silence and do what we need to do in order to keep our people enlightened and to educate our people on the truth. And then once we have our people aware of what's going on, then we must take the proper moves out in the open to rightfully claim who we are. And it starts as an individual. Genealogy is key. If you know your people did not come from Africa, find out exactly where your people came from. That's your responsibility, not the government's. Just like it's not the government's responsibility to tell you who you are by giving you a false narrative and continuing to play in our face with that false narrative. So as they're picking and choosing what they want us to know and what they don't want us to know, what they want us to see and what they don't want us to see, we need to take off the veil and turn on the light in our own house so we can see what's really happening, what's really going on. All right? This is Chief Steve signing off. Tata Kista, I cherish you all. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you like this video, subscribe if you're new, ring the notification bell as well. Yokoki. I'll see you next time.